You are listening to That Big CEO Energy, where we talk all things business, life, marriage, and push you to a new edge of discovering what that big CEO energy means for you. Listen, I understand that we have barriers that we carry from when we were once employees, and those have impacted us as we continue to build our businesses. I'm here to walk alongside you and give you encouragement through interviews with friends and other women in business who have broken down those barriers and paved their own way. Tune in with me as we uncover some of the unconscious things that we do that keep us from building that big CEO energy we've always dreamed about. Let's dive in. Welcome back, everybody. Today, we are going to do an additional episode off of the episode I did with Amber de la Garza, because something in my chat with her really resonated, and I just wanted to go a little bit deeper here with you. And so today we're going to be chatting all about crafting a work week that really truly matters. I'll link the episode that I did with her in the show notes below, but we had a brief chat about work weeks, and she is currently and has been for quite some time doing a 3-day work week. Well, I have implemented a 4-day work week. And so it got me thinking all about how we sort of design our work weeks as individuals, right? Those of us who are probably still in corporate, we have a 5-day work week typically. And then, sprinkled in, we have holidays and things of that sort. But as an entrepreneur, I'm super, super curious about the work weeks that others have implemented. And so when she had made note that she was doing a 3-day work week, I couldn't help but think, is that truly a possibility for me? And so a disclaimer that I want to put out is it doesn't happen overnight, right? And she said it best herself too. It doesn't happen overnight. And so let's chat all about the big question, right? Why does this even matter? Why does creating a work week that matters actually, in fact, matter? And as business owners, our time is one of the most valuable assets, especially if you are a service provider. And we've got dreams, right? We've got goals, and we've got endless to-do lists. But without purposeful structure, it's really, really easy to get caught up in the busyness instead of the business. And when that happens, when we get caught up in the busyness, we end up exhausted, overwhelmed, and sometimes we even lose sight of why we started this in the first place. And burnout is real. But when we talk about a work week that matters, it's way more about checking off the tasks. It's about alignment. It's about aligning our daily actions with a bigger vision, with our personal goals and our ultimate goals, right? When you create a week with intention, you're not just moving the needle of your business. You're also fostering a fulfilling life that reflects your passions and priorities. So how do we even begin to start implementing this? Well, I have a few actionable steps that I started to work on when I thought about implementing a 4-day work week. And I had to get super, super clear on what my vision and what my goals are in the first place. So first things first, right? You need a clear vision. And a question to really help is, what does success look like for you? Not just in business, but in life. And write it down, right? Paint a vivid picture of your ideal life. And I know I've talked about this a little bit before, but it's breaking it down into long-term and short-term goals. What can you do this year? What can you do this month? What can you do this week? to move towards the actual vision that you have for your life. And I love that the second step Amber also implemented in her business when she works with her clients, but also in setting up for her 3-day work week, which is setting up a time audit, right? And you can just do it for 1 week, but track everything that you do, from meetings and emails to coffee breaks to scrolling through social media. This is eye-opening. Trust me. You'll really see where your time is going and identify what the time wasters are. With all of this, right, with your vision and your time audit in hand, it's really, really time to prioritize. And this contributes to whether or not you're going to do a few things. One is we're going to determine what tasks directly contribute to your goals and what tasks you can possibly delegate to someone else. Or is it time to bring on someone like a virtual assistant or start using some automation tools to really free up your time for what matters? And here's the kicker. Whether or not you directly want to focus on those goals, the want and the actual need from you are completely different things. You may want to do them because you're faster at it, because you just know it better, because whatever, insert that here. But it's not always a good use of your time. And when you delegate what you can, whether it's hiring a virtual assistant or, again, using those automation tools, you begin to start work on the things that you didn't even know mattered in the first place. Things like creating your 5-year vision, channeling a different offering, right? Having different types of meetings, being able to focus in a different area of social media. You can't do all of that while also doing the same exact things that you have been doing, because what happens is now you're back to working every single day, because you've just added instead of subtracted. And so that is a key thing. Adding and subtracting are crucial things to look at in your business. The more you subtract of the things that you are doing now that someone else in their zone of genius is fully capable of helping you with, contribute to adding into the things that are meaningful to you. Next, we are going to talk about batching. Friends, I have a wonderful, wonderful podcast producer who just happens to be one of my very first OG clients. And she has all of her clients in the podcasting world batch recording. And it is a game changer. It is a game changer for the way that I show up in my podcast. It's a game changer for being able to create all of my social media around this, right? The things that I'm going to talk about, the pillars that I have. It is an absolute game changer. So when I think about taking exactly what I am doing in my podcast, which is batch recording, I'm allowed to start thinking about the other tasks that I can put together. So when we group similar tasks together and we tackle them in dedicated blocks of time, it minimizes the context switching and it really does boost your productivity. For example, when we structure our work weeks, such as maybe you are designating Monday for content creation, right? And Tuesdays for client meetings and so on. What's happening is when you're doing it this way, you're not juggling all different types of tasks every single day. And I will be the first to raise my hand and say, not every week am I able to do that. For instance, today is a Monday. Podcasts are due. I am sitting here and I am recording in the very wee hours of the morning because I chose to play hooky over the weekend when I said that I was going to do it. And now I'm having a deadline and I'm having to get it done, right? Not optimal, but at the same time, I'm like, wait a minute, is Monday now a content creation? Because now I am working on newsletters and I am, all the things. What I would say is for me in particular, Monday through Thursday, I do have client meetings that are spread out, but I do make sure that I have large chunks of time before and after each of my meetings so that I'm able to get client work done. I'm able to spend time in my business. So maybe it's not necessarily designating each day for a specific thing, but rather utilizing the day in increments of hours to be able to do those things. So, like the morning type, right? Maybe that is when your brain is most turned on. And so you're doing client work. And maybe the afternoon, like you just feel a little bit lackluster. Maybe it's working on your business, right? Because those are low ticket things that if you don't get them done that day, then that's totally fine, but you do have client work, right? So it's really about getting to know your week, getting to know how you operate during the week. And I have a slew of podcast episodes that you can go back and watch. But the most important thing is putting boundaries in place with all of those things. And setting boundaries is essential. When you create a work schedule that respects your personal time and you define your working hours and stick to them, and you communicate the boundaries to clients, your team members, and even your family, that's really where you start to see it pay off. Boundaries are kind. Being clear is kind. So for instance, for my work week, I tried to keep it, keyword, we're still working on it, right? It's a work in progress. And sometimes each season may be an ebb and flow. So currently I try to do 2 days a week that are full 8-hour days. So like a 9 to 5. And 2 other days I do like a 10 to 4. And so that for me allows to have a little bit of reprieve in the afternoon because I do tend to like piddle out. And some days I do like a slow morning. So if I stick to the schedule of 2 and 2, that helps me. But I have to stick to the boundaries that I've created, even for myself, right? So one of the things that is super helpful for me is at the end of the week is to make reflection a regular practice. And so every week I review what I worked on, what worked within that, and what didn't work. And then I try and make a little bit of a plan for the next week. And so this really helps keep me aligned in the goals that I have and really helps me to continuously improve the workflow that I have and also identify what I can continually begin to offload to my team. And all of these things, reflection, boundaries, batching our tasks, prioritizing and delegating, do a time audit, vision and goals, right? All of those things have so many benefits. And the big benefit that I found for me is having an increase of productivity. Like when my week is structured with super high intention, I am far more productive. When I know that I only have a certain amount of hours in the day, I'm so focused on high impact activities rather than getting lost in the busy work, which means that I can achieve more in less time. We joked in corporate, and I think it still rings true, but I always used to say that if I had to work 3 12-hour days, I would get way more done in those 3 days than I ever did in a 5-day work week. Like imagine if corporate had 3 12-hour days and like everybody was on the grindstone, how much less chatter would we have in each other's offices, right? Am I right? But it also gave me, and is starting to give me, reduced stress. When I had a chaotic schedule, it is the major stress of my life. Like having things that are just, and sometimes my weeks are still like this, but having weeks that is just chaotic is not good for me. So when I am able to create a well-planned work week, I reduce the chaos. And I do feel way more in control. And less stress doesn't mean, that things aren't going to pop up and, energy isn't going to be drained. That isn't what that means. But it does mean that you're able to work through them faster and easier, thus creating a better mental health situation for yourself. And it gives you more energy to pour into the things that really matter, both in your business and your personal life. One of the biggest benefits of having a work week that actually matters is it creates a better work-life balance. So what's happening is you're not burning out because you've set boundaries and you've prioritized your downtime. And this balance really is crucial for long-term success and happiness because nobody likes a stressed out mom, right? And you don't like being stressed out. But you can't do any of that if you don't have a clear vision and a structured work week. You don't have any clarity or focus. You don't know what you're working towards and why. And it makes decision-making so much easier when you have a clear, defined vision and a clear, defined work week. And it actually keeps you motivated, even when, right? Even when challenges get put in. So when we are able to have this clarity, focus, and we're able to keep motivated, this approach fosters the sustainable growth that we've always been searching for. And then it begins that you're building a business that thrives not just today, not just this week, but for many years to come. And you're actually setting an example for your team and your loved ones by being intentional. And when you know when your team needs you, you will be able to balance that when you are in your work week. When your team knows when you are coming and when you are going, it is so much easier for them to be prepared on their end with questions, challenges, things of that nature, and know when to problem solve when you're not around. So I want you to think about creating a work week that matters. If it matters to you to be in your business for 5 days a week, then that's what matters. If you can do it in 3 days and that's what you're craving, that's what matters. But you can't get to the heart of what matters if you don't start having the clarity and the focus and start delegating. So there you have it. Creating a work week that matters is really all about being intentional, having alignment, and creating sustainability. It's really about making sure that every hour that you invest in bringing you closer to your goals and helping you live a life that you love is not just about being busy. It's not just about getting it all crammed in and being done. It's about being purposeful. So I want you to think about, here's a challenge for you. I want you to think about how you can create a work week that matters by using the principles that we talked about. If something resonated with you, please come to my Instagram and let's have a conversation about it. I'm really jazzed about creating work weeks that matter. And I am so thankful to Amber that we were able to have this conversation and really open up my eyes into what's possible. See you in the next one. Thanks for tuning into the show today. If you heard something that helped you, I would love it if you would leave a review and share it with your friends. This helps more people just like you become inspired to move the needle of their big CEO energy into a positive direction. If you would like to learn more about how I can help you streamline and position your business for growth or lead your business as a CEO, feel free to jump into the show notes with all of the links to find me. And don't forget to head over to Instagram so we can be pals.